It's like they're trying to be too meta.
You're gonna make them an offer they can't refuse.
You can buy you a drink.
Well, I mean, he did pick out somebody we know.
You sidestep the question. That technology does not exist. You're listening to A to Z Podcast. Our guest this episode is City Council candidate Teej Rodman. We gave him the floor to discuss any and all issues of importance to Beaumont, Texas citizens.
Hey, everybody. I'm Zach. I'm here with my co-host, Aaron.
What up?
Welcome to A to Z. If this is your first time listening, thanks for checking us out. A to Z is produced sort of weekly, and show notes can be found at a2zpodcast.com.
If you like what you hear, feel free to subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, YouTube, and many more.
You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at A2ZBMT.
Yeah, what it do, Zach?
It do.
This is a really fun episode for me personally because it's very locally driven.
Mm-hmm.
This is a completely Beaumont, Texas thing because we're talking about Teej Rodman.
Yeah, Teej Rodman. He's an old friend of ours.
Yeah, we've known him for a while, and we met him independently of each other. So,
and he's always been a very politically minded guy. He has, I think you said earlier, he has very strong ideals.
No, I was talking about he's probably the best person to run, in my opinion, because he's very ideologically consistent. That's a hard thing to say.
Yeah, that's right. He's not locked into his ideals, that's for sure.
No, and he can admit when he's wrong.
I mean, he can admit when he's wrong, and that's it. And he, we discussed a lot of these things that he saw as basically logical steps forward in a government and in a society. So yeah. I really like his ideas. I like him as a candidate. I will go ahead and say that we're endorsing him.
Yeah, I personally would endorse him.
This is our endorsement for
and if you do too, then we're going to go ahead and say that A to Z endorses him.
A to Z endorses Teej Rodman for City Council. So enjoy this episode. Be sure to subscribe, leave a like or a comment, please. If you like what you hear, leave us some reviews. We want your feedback. And enjoy this episode with City Council candidate Teej Rodman.
That's how you want everybody to address him?
You want everybody to know who I am, Rodman.
Rajman. Yo, I'm voting for that Rajman.
Hey, man, it's been a long day. What's up, Teej?
Not a whole lot, guys. How are y'all?
TJ's a good friend of ours. I've known him for quite a while, doing the DJ thing and just being around Beaumont. And I don't know how you know him.
I've known him separately. I met him when he worked at Painting with a Twist. I'm not going to get into it, but we've known each other for a while. So,
yeah.
So we got Teej on here because he is going to be running for
go ahead and make your announcement.
Local government,
TJ.
Man. I'm actually planning. I'm exploratory right now. I've been talking a lot with Aaron and a couple of other people in the area, a couple of the unions in the area, and I've decided that we need to move Beaumont in a progressive direction. We don't see any people in our generation actually stepping up and taking responsibility for the things that Beaumont does or the things that Beaumont could be.
They sure do want to complain about it, though.
They sure do want to complain about it. And we'll get into that a little bit later. Yeah. But what my main thing is even if you don't like me or you don't like what I have to say, if you're between the ages of 21 and 40, you need to get out there and vote, because that's the only way that we're going to get to take care of some of the problems that you guys have with Beaumont, be it traffic, be it lack of economic diversity, like Aaron and I have talked about before. There are so many different things that we can do to make Beaumont a little bit better, and nothing's going to happen overnight, but we can start right now by taking steps to make sure that our city council, our city manager, and our mayor are actually going to be on board with some of the things that we want to do as far as attracting new industry to the area. We live within spitting distance of two of the largest ports in the United States of America. Why we're not exporting more things other than military vehicles, petrochemical, and plastics is beyond me.
Yeah.
I'm also a little irritated that Beaumont didn't even try to go after the Southern Amazon headquarters, because we're perfectly placed for that. So, I'm going to be running for city council.
Yeah, this actually would be a logistic.
Wait, do we meet all the standards that they set for it?
For the most part, we'd have to take care of some, I hate to say it this way, but we'd have to actually clean up a little bit of the trash in town. And that just goes in.
What do you mean by trash?
We have a serious crime problem in this town, and I'll actually tell a story about that. A lady who lives next door to my girlfriend and I, she moved down here from Seattle. She needed a change of venue. Just wasn't happy up north. I don't know why, because Seattle's awesome.
It's not that cold either.
It's really not.
It's kind of depressing.
It rains a lot, but she packed up her car one day and drove down to Beaumont, Texas, and decided this is where she wanted to be. On the first day that she moved into her apartment, 3 young men that live a block over from us, who have a reputation in Old Town for doing the things that they do, stole $1,500 out of her car, and then 2 nights later broke into her back window, stole 2 TVs, hurt one of her cats, and then took her car on a nice little joyride through Old Town Beaumont with about 7 police cruisers following them. And none of them are being charged with anything because not even Grand Theft Auto. Not even Grand Theft Auto.
How are they not being charged?
2 of them were minors and got away, and the third one, I don't know what's going on with that. I'm actually going to be going down to the courthouse with her to kind of find out what's going on with that. It's a sad situation. I mean, we have the police officers that I've talked to about it have said that they just need more funding, but you see our SWAT team. Our SWAT team is great. I know Kelly Cole. He's one of the higher ups on the SWAT team. Great dude. But I mean, it's kind of hard for me to understand that they don't have enough funding when I see them driving around in a specially modified Humvee with 3-inch armor plating on it.
Some of those I think were purchased with like grants.
The majority of that's actually
It's like federal.
Well, the majority of it is military surplus goods that they just give away.
Or they got it for really cheap.
Right. Yeah.
But we just spend a boatload of money getting everybody moved over to these new cruisers that they're driving around, those Tahoes that they're driving?
Well, probably, yeah.
Yeah, because they don't have any...
There's no Crown Vics on the road or anything.
There's no Crown Vics left on the street.
Consoles
They're all,
and stuff.
They're all those
I do have to say, though, like, I have my own opinions about the police as a whole. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of the police for the majority of I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but I do like Beaumont police, and I like Jefferson County officers. They're super cool. There's something about a police officer that actually works in a dangerous city that makes them have a really healthy perspective. Right. Because if they're very respectful, anytime they show up to the bar when I'm working, you know, and I get stabbed or whatever, they I don't know, they're just really cool. I've gotten pulled over a couple times, and they just make sure I'm all right, and they're like, all right, man, just be safe. Yeah. Because they know, they're like, you know what, this isn't that big of a deal because I can get shot at any time. Right. Because of
and you have to, you have to at least respect them, and you see a lot of the bad things that are going on in the news with the cops here lately, and it gets into the racial divisiveness that we've gotten into in the past, I don't know, it's come more in the forefront in, I guess, the past 2.5 years. Yeah. But it's not. It's something that's always been there, and it's kind of hard to talk about being a white dude because we don't experience the things that these folks have to go through on a day-to-day basis. Sure. Right. Yeah. And I'm not saying that it's a widespread problem for these guys, but it's always there.
Well, I grew up interracially, so I've experienced it. I know exactly what it is. So, yeah, I tell people all the time.
And it's rough. That's one of the hurdles that I'm going to have to overcome with the run for city council, because I'm sure that's something that's going to come up, especially around here right now.
Yeah, and especially if you wanted to run in your ward or anything like that.
Right. The Ward 1 is a very strange ward.
It's a strange one.
It extends all the way from Tram Road.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I'll pull up the ward map here.
Let me see that zone.
Extremely weird. It extends all the way from Tram Road out past the canal over into... up 5th Street, and into downtown.
That's very strange.
I don't want to cry gerrymandering, but gerrymandering.
That's
what it seems like to me, at least. Yeah. So we all know that there's things that we can and can't do with Beaumont, but if we actually want to move forward, we've got to do something starting now.
Right. We need to start small things. We need to start things that make sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one of the heavy things that I've been kind of leaning on is municipal broadband.
Yeah, we talked about that.
But kind of encompassing that with the infrastructure overhaul, but moving it in small steps. Say we connect all of our municipal buildings and schools and hospitals first, and use that as our backbone or spine of our network, and then move neighborhood by neighborhood. But we work with energy to update our power grid at the same time and have them do the work and lay the cable for us.
We start burying power lines at that point.
We don't. Google.
Yeah,
if you look at Google Fiber,
really made me mad was whenever you told me that Beaumont passed up on Google Fiber in 2015.
I know. It was going to cost too much money.
Yeah, tell Zach. It's
okay.
We
not naming any
Google
names,
Fiber?
but someone in upper city management, we all know who I'm talking about. We're actually approached by Google Fiber to install Google Fiber in Beaumont as a test city.
They were looking for a market like this size, 100,000 population, right?
And it was going to be too expensive. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Google comes through and works with the local municipal government and
They pretty much subsidize it,
supplier.
right.
Subsidize it,
Right.
and it's essentially no cost to the taxpayer. So we could have double or triple the speeds that we have now for, what, $65, $70 a month.
Sure. And then I mean the bigger implications other than cost. I mean, cost is great, like $10, $20 cheaper a month. That's fantastic.
Right.
But to me, the bigger implication is that
Just
what's
the kind of businesses that would be here if we had fiber.
yeah,
Exactly.
The kind of businesses that
Exactly.
would come here because it's cheap.
Exactly.
You know, it's fairly close to an airport, or we have the local one.
People are
We
like,
have a
"Where? They
regional
got
airport.
Google Fiber." Mm.
You know, like
I'm gonna start my
that's
tech company there.
right.
Right?
You know why?
and,
Because
Like
the
Austin,
living is
they're not going to go to
super
Austin.
cheap.
You know,
No. I mean, Austin's already saturated with tech companies.
It's
and startups.
oversaturated, and it's also the cost of living is too high.
Exactly.
If I were to start a tech company, I would try to find the cheapest place for my employees to live.
Hey, looky there. It's Beaumont. We have a low cost of living here. I mean,
I still think the rent's too damn high. But
Yeah, the rent's
It's
always
too damn high.
Oh, yeah, here's that ward map. Here's
Let me
Ward
see that
1
thing.
right here. Look at there.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Isn't that the weirdest thing in the world? Yeah. Isn't that
I mean,
strange?
kind of, but no. I mean, what is that going through? That's not this area, is it?
No, y'all are in Ward 2. That's Mike
the
Getz.
So they
Yeah.
take north and into the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of Mike Getz, he gets a lot of crap that I don't think he deserves.
I agree with that.
I like Mike.
Yeah, well, I
He's
like too.
he brought Uber to town. He brought Oktoberfest back, and who doesn't like Oktoberfest? Because
He gets a lot of crap because because it almost seems like he doesn't care about people's opinions of him, and that's kind of my favorite thing about him.
well, I think that's what you kind of have to develop that hard outer shell when you go into any type of politics, but especially local politics. When you have such a diverse amount of people in Beaumont, we are the typical Southern city, old Beaumont money, and everybody else
declare.
is clutching my pearls.
I'll just wait till you hear the Sarah Bellion episode, man. You're gonna love it.
So I mean, it's when I look at the ward map, you see Ward 3 and 4. That's predominantly black people. Then you look at Ward 1 and 2. That's predominantly white people. So you can follow I-10,
Sure.
and you have your city basically divided along racial lines because of a highway, and the districts are drawn out like that. Well, except for Ward 1, which is drawn up really weird.
Right. And Ward 1, I don't think is heavily one way or the other, white or black. I think it's pretty
No.
mixed.
Are the populations
gotta-
equally distributed?
I really don't think so because when you look at Ward 3, you have a lot of open space. That's Hellbig and Bigner, and I guess that's East Lucas, which most of our parents would say. Hey,
I mean, I don't know
go
how
down there
ward,
at
I don't
night.
know how a ward should or district should definitely be drawn up, but it seems like you want to equally represent a
Oh,
portion
yeah.
of the population.
Oh
right?
yeah, I mean, you look at the West End. What is that? That's when I was coming up. That was we called them West End Wandas, but
Yeah.
the makeup of that area has really changed over the past, I guess, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, it's the West End is. I wouldn't even call it white. I would just call it like middle class.
Middle class,
you know?
yeah. I mean, I don't think we have a delineation between upper and lower middle class. I think we just have
No,
middle
yeah,
class.
it's just
There's not as there's
well,
not
it's
that
a
much.
very weak class now. I'll tell you that
Oh, yeah.
much. But so
Yeah,
what little middle class we have, but
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and
But
you hear,
the lines are really blurred socioeconomically because even in West End, where you have the majority of houses that cost over $1 million, or however you want to actually think about it, we also have a lot of apartment buildings on this side. We have we have all the same stuff.
well, you have a probably. I'm going to kind of assume, but you have a 3-to-1 ratio of renters to owners in this town. Is what I would.
I'm not owning a home.
Yeah,
so I'm renting.
I'm not
Yeah.
going to own a home in this town and pay and have my property.
I'm not getting
tax go
upside
up
down
every
on an
year.
investment.
I would probably
Yeah.
say that it's less than that.
You less than that? You think?
Yeah.
I don't really know. I don't really. There's not really any place that I can go to find those figures. That's something that I probably should know.
So would
City
you
council.
what position do you think you'd aim for?
I really want to run for Ward 1 so that I can have the Oaks Historic District and do some stuff with that. Because
Do you
I
have to
think
live in the district to run
You
for?
do have to live in the district.
And that's where you live currently.
Yeah.
So
And
unless
then-
you
Were you-
moved,
were you about to say
have
you have
unless
to-
I would move, then
Were you
I'd-
about to say you have to be the homeowner? You have to be a homeowner? That
No,
day?
no,
I thought I was.
You,
I thought
no,
I
you don't have
heard-
to. They
You have
wrote
to
that
be-
out of the Constitution a while back
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the property thing.
Well, now, I mean,
Sweet.
we can get into that with the Electoral College. I think you should be a homeowner to be able to vote in the federal elections, but that's just me. And
Wow.
being absolutely
Wow, man.
ridiculous. It's just me being ridiculous.
That is ridiculous, dog.
The main reason.
Oh,
I'm
hey
in a lot
guys,
of
we
our-
forgot to say he's a libertarian.
So why are you trying to tread on me, bro?
Surprise.
No, it's not necessarily that. It's just
Just 'cause I
mainly a
think
way to
homeownership
shut
is a
people
bad
people
investment,
up
you know?
because if we didn't have the Electoral College, our elections would be decided by 3 cities. They would be decided by New York.
Yeah, but then
Los
you'd have
Angeles.
voter fraud and people buying. People would be selling little foot squares of land
Oh well, yeah.
so that you could vote.
Hey, that'd be a good idea. Yeah, yeah, you would get around that easy.
Yeah.
That's not very egalitarianly minded either.
No, it's
Yeah.
really not. But I mean, we need to do something about this.
That's a crazy
So I
notion.
mean, so you want to inspire growth.
I do want to inspire growth.
You
I
want to
wanna-
inspire growth. You want to. You want. I guess I get put a younger face in charge because all these people that are in charge right now, kind of they're old school politics.
Right.
You know, it's like just very kind of like the
feel like they can't
glamour
relate.
shots.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, right.
They don't. They don't look like people.
No, they look
Okay.
like
They look like
realtors.
somebody who
They look
owns
like
a business.
realtors.
And I'm not talking about everyone, but I'm just they look like
realtors.
yeah. I mean, they have the same headshots that they give to the real estate
Exactly.
people on the billboard.
Exactly.
And
I
the
mean-
lawyers, most of them are lawyers or something like that.
I find that's the biggest problem in American politics, whether it's local, state or federal. There's a lack of diversity of life in politics.
Exactly.
The biggest issue to me is that politics is I'm underrepresented, right? There's no one like me in politics. All there is lawyers or business people, right? I mean, we have a billionaire as president right
and
now.
Neil
So
deGrasse Tyson said it best: "Where are the scientists? Where are the doctors?
I mean, where's the high school teachers,
environmentalists? Where
you
are
know?
the accountants?
Yeah.
Where are the teachers? I mean,
Where's it-
where's the
it-
carpenters?
yeah, where's
where
the
are the
smart
carpenters?
carpenter?
I mean, Jesus was a carpenter.
I'm
We
just
need
saying.
Jesus
I'm
in
just
Congress.
saying. I mean, there's no.
I want like a
there's-
sassy
There's
cabinet
no
maker.
representation.
looking for middle-aged black man with sass.
So I guess this leans into you. Like if we don't have proper representation, then taxation is wrong, right?
Oh well, yeah. I mean,
That's why we left the British. Right?
look at the past year and 2 months. I don't
I
want to
mean,
get into the whole red versus blue thing because I
He's
sit in the middle of it and I
representing a
think they're
side.
all
He is
ridiculous.
representing a side.
Yeah,
we-
but if you look at the things that are happening, you have 85% of eligible voters that were asked about net neutrality. They were in favor of net neutrality. And what does our FCC do? They work with the Federal Trade Commission to bend everybody over and peg us. That's basically what's happening. Now, we're not going to see the ramifications of that for probably about a year.
Right.
But you can already hear it coming out in the radio now. My buddy, he lives in Kansas. He has Cox Cable, which thankfully we don't have that here. When the net neutrality rules went into place in 2015, he was paying about $130 for, I think, 100 megs up and down. It was straight broadband, up 100 megs up, 100 megs down. Over the course of 2 years, his price on that dropped about $20. But now that they've lifted the net neutrality rules, he got a letter in the mail that he's going to have a data cap now, and he's going to be paying upwards of $250 before he hits his data cap.
What?
Yeah,
yeah, it's ridiculous.
yeah. So what we're seeing now is we're seeing the FCC has told us that we're lifting these to promote competition. What competition? We have 4 major telecoms that own all the cable companies.
And not only do they own them all, but they don't compete with each other.
They don't compete with each other. They have deals with each other.
They have deals. They
Time
bid
Warner
for that
or
market. They're like,
Spectrum or
okay,
whoever
this
they are now owns
we're in it.
HBO.
Well, it's a weird thing that happened. It's like you would think that if you have a business, you sell a product, or you have something like this that you offer, right? You would think the more people use it, the cheaper it would get, right? Isn't that like a basic law of
Yes.
thermodynamics of fucking the economy, right? But what they're doing because
That's
they have so
just
much
the idea of the
control
marketplace,
is
yeah.
the more people use it, they say, well, so many people are using it, we're
It's
gonna have
costing
to
more to-
we're gonna have to. It's gonna cost more to take care of it. So
and I think I
know.
don't remember the exact time frame, but it was a long time ago when they called DSL a utility. I think that was back in 2002 or 2004.
Yeah.
The government actually gave major telecom $400 billion to improve their infrastructure.
That's right. We actually helped build it.
No. Here's the thing: we didn't build crap.
Well, we helped pay to build.
We helped pay to build it, but those guys have not. There's been no growth as far as fiber is concerned. You see it in the major cities like New York, LA, Chicago, stuff like that.
Well, we also they just passed a tariff on solar panel imports.
Yes, isn't that great?
I read
And
that today.
I mean, now I see these headlines on the different news sources, and this headline says they say it's going to cost 24,000 American jobs, right? And I see that, and I don't want to just automatically claim that, they're telling the truth, because there's always a bent. There's
Right.
always some kind of, technically on each side, they both do it, But I mean, that is kind of a thing. Is that something that you would want to do is like more try to get those kind of grants and those kind of.
Oh,
like
yeah.
we missed Google and we missed
Amazon.
Amazon.
Well, I
like,
mean,
you know.
it's not that we missed Amazon. It's
Would you
just
be
that
more
there was,
seeking those out?
Oh yeah, I
More
would
innovation?
love to bring things in here that would make quality of life in this town better.
Well, it's not even that, but other companies and other people looking at Beaumont, because we do probably come up on a lot of lists for marketing and like finding a place, right? But if we actually have at least, even if it's not anything big, if we have one futuristic or like one kind of thing like that in us, and they see that we have that, then they think that would be a good place.
Exactly,
to do it too.
exactly.
It
And
would
I mean,
attract even more.
And my philosophy of approaching it is, if you improve the quality of life for the people that live in your town, you're going to attract more business because they're going to see that the people that here are happy, that the cost of living is low, that we have more than just refineries and Lamar to offer. I don't want to talk bad about Lamar, but I mean, come on. What does Lamar churn out?
Well,
Engineers.
I've had discussions with several people that talks about Lamar is not. It's like everything's insular. They don't really incorporate into the community.
Like it's not
in a
part
way.
of Beaumont.
It's-
Yeah,
I deal with at
like
my
a lot
job,
of those kids don't really go out that much.
No.
They kind of the ones at the dorms. They just kind of stay on campus
Yeah.
and do a couple of things.
I deal a lot with the faculty and the administration at Lamar doing what I do for a living. And here lately, it seems like they're kind of doing what they want to do. They're not necessarily worried about community outreach. They're relying
Well, they don't
more
have to.
on people that they buy things from to do their community outreach for them. Do a lot of promotional products and T-shirts and crap like that for them. So and just having to deal with that. A lot of turnover rate in the administration right now, and it's really weird. Like
The university.
they have a Department of Diversification at Lamar. Did you know that?
Oh wow.
The director of that just quit and accepted a job at a community college, making twice as much money as she was making at Lamar, while the president of Lamar makes more money than you and I will ever see in our entire life in 1 year. It's ridiculous.
They always release the salaries of like the football coaches. you
Yeah.
know? So the football coaches get paid as much as the superintendent for the district usually.
Which is
more.
really odd to me. I mean, I played football in high school, and just to see how much emphasis we put on football.
Well, I get the idea. Like, if you're like a 5A school, or what is it, 6A now? They have 6A schools.
Do they?
If you're a 5A school, like the big school districts, I could see that being a thing because people would move to your district
To
if
play
you
football.
had a football coach who was qualified, and they should be paid for that. I get that, but in these smaller districts, that doesn't seem like it's much as a dynamic.
Well,
you know?
isn't West Orange Stark a 5A school?
I have
Yes.
no idea.
And they win state pretty much every year, do they not? We don't.
Well,
we haven't.
yeah.
I mean, they win it a lot.
They're pretty dominant, is what I.
But you don't see any population growth because of West Orange Stark and their football
Yeah,
team.
well, people aren't moving their businesses there because West Orange Stark has an awesome football team.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of players that are probably getting to the NFL, but the percentage compared to how much you're, how much you're representing. You know?
It's like for every 50 people that play football in high school, one person will move on to college ball, and out of every
and then
500 players in college,
a
will move
large
on
part
to,
of your budget is to ensure that
Yep, you keep those people there.
like 2 or 3 people make it every 5 years or
Yeah.
something. You know,
So you can say, hey, they went to school here.
yeah, it's
mean-
and it's we're kind of getting into dicey territory because especially like establishing, I guess the. Our opinion on a lot of things is in this area especially is we're not exactly like we're not Trump supporters, but we're kind of down the middle, and there's a lot of things that are I guess considered sacrilegious to bring up in this area because there's such a passionate backlash to it, if you do, which is going against football, saying anything about the military, the police, the government, usually, unless it's Hillary for jail or something.
My basic philosophy has always been that the government sucks at everything. Why should I trust them with more?
Yeah, we've already established that you are a libertarian. But that's
It's
really
worth repeating.
No, it definitely is. That's one of the bad things about politics today is the nature of it is so divisive, and divisive means between two, right? So that's pretty much whenever you're talking to someone and they're emotional, they're going to put you in one of two slots.
Exactly.
Instead of knowing that there is a philosophical spectrum of things, and people don't even really say whether they're liberal or conservative anymore. It's all like
Everybody's afraid
party.
to.
It's all party politics.
Yeah.
I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican. Yeah. Right, there's a lot of libtards thrown around, and
Trumpkins,
alt-right, all that stuff.
The alt-right stuff, that's scary crap. I mean,
Well, they're both the fringes of both are very scary. Alt-right is very scary, and then also neoliberalism is actually even scarier to me. But.
Well, have you ever heard of the horseshoe theory? It's a theory. It's a political theory about where you can go so far in one direction that you are the mirror
of the other
exact side.
Absolutely.
No, that's exactly
and that's kind of where everybody we're not focusing on that middle moderate part anymore. We're focusing on the extreme.
You
left
can
or the
usually see
extreme
it
right.
evidenced by anybody that goes out to protest.
Exactly.
So if it's a pro-life protest, they're all extreme right. If it's not necessarily the pro-women protest, but I mean either one.
But see, that's the thing is you can't hoist a moderate flag proudly. You can't get up and be like,
No, because you're moderate.
I'm a centrist.
Yeah.
Hear me roar, because people.
I think everybody has good quality.
Everybody stop being stupid.
people. Well, yeah. See, that's the thing is intrinsically people that are centrists, like the three of us, our identity isn't tied up in our philosophical political.
Yeah, because we're not
beliefs.
going to die over a belief.
Exactly.
I mean, I'll fight tooth and nail. I have a lot of friends that are in the LGBT community. I love them.
I'll fight you tooth and nail just to agree to disagree.
Exactly. But I'll stand next to those people and I'll take a bullet for them if somebody's willing to go out and shoot a gay person. I don't know of many people in this day and age, unless they're extreme right wing, that's just often crazy, just over there on the right, just kind of hanging out. I'm going to kill a bunch of gay people. I would stand next to those people and take a bullet for those people, just like I would.
I would just kill the shooter. Anyway.
I mean, I guess
I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah,
but
Aaron's a badass.
you understand what I'm saying? I'm like,
look at this badass over here.
But I'm also what some people would consider an evangelical Christian, even though I don't necessarily constitute I don't live by those rules. I believe in the things that they believe in, and I understand where they're coming from. Yeah. But I also see what people who have grown up believing that what they are is wrong and evil. Yeah. Right. I see that how that affects them down the road.
How about okay? So we're getting off into like a tangent about things
kind of
we
getting
can't.
like philosophical.
How about let's get on the we got some Beaumont issues, right? So you're running for, you don't know exactly what you're running for.
Yeah.
The election's sometime in February because there's no information on the city's website.
The filing begins sometime in February. Mm-hmm. I'm going off of one of the...
Oh, you're filing.
I'm filing to run in February. The elections are not until May of 2019.
What?
And
Oh, what's elections this year?
This year is federal positions, county judge, stuff like that.
Okay.
Basically, anytime that there's...
Railroad Commission, I think.
Whenever... Hang on. Yeah, because whenever they elect a president, they elect new city council members, but they have one in between. So when we had the election in 2016, that's when they had the elections for the 2017, 2019 city council members. So it's every 2 years, but it's alternating with federal and county positions.
Right, so you're the beginning stages are ramping up for your campaign.
Yes, I'm kind of basically an exploratory, kind of getting out there and filling out the competition and seeing who I would like to kind of talk about and bring on board with me. I've been talking to Aaron a lot about it.
Yeah,
I'm sure you and I will talk a little bit more about it here
for sure.
Here in the future.
I'd love to be a part and help anyway.
You're gonna rattle some cages, and I'm gonna love
that's
it.
kind of what I want to see.
That's the idea. I mean, because I am a self-professed troll. I like to get out on the.
Well, it helped Trump win, so
yeah,
why couldn't it help you win?
Aaron and I have actually talked about that, running a very Trump-like campaign. You know, minus the sexism and racism.
Right.
You also have
we
to
go out there
present
and we have fun.
So I want to help.
Yeah, I mean, because our generation likes to do two things: drink and have sex. So we're gonna put the sex aside, and we're going to drink a lot, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to talk about things that we can do to make Beaumont even better than it already is.
We're going to run a platform based on partying. That's what we're going to do.
Yes.
So we talked about before we started recording. We started talking about some issues with Beaumont and some things that are kind of happening right now. And one of the things that you brought up was we're recently merging two of our schools.
Oh, it's going to be a bloodbath. I think it's going to.
Well, why don't you give a little background on like what's going on for anybody who's not in the know?
Well, as we all know, Harvey happened, and that really, really sucked.
The hurricane,
Harvey did damage Central quite badly, right?
Really badly, and I'm sure there were pre-existing conditions going on with Central.
Like, what are Central? What is Ozan? Like, why is it a problem?
Central was formed as a medical magnet, but it was predominantly for Old Town area, Ward 1, Ward 4.
Which is the old historic district.
Area of town. But I think people were also able to get waivers to go to that school. They were able to go.
Was this part of like the busing?
Yes. And then you have Westbrook that's been there since I was born. It's been there for a long time. And then you had Ozan, which used to be Hebert High School. It's the spiritual successor of Hebert High School, which went defunct in, I think, 1982, if I'm not correct.
Yeah, and I guess a backstory is like Beaumont didn't really successfully integrate.
No,
until the 80s, and they still haven't.
They still haven't.
But they were. I think they were basically forced by the.
They were forced by the
government.
Yeah, forced by the government to integrate. But I mean, you still see Central was predominantly African American.
Right.
Ozan is predominantly African American.
Right.
And everybody else is just kind of shoved over into Westbrook, which made Westbrook into a 5A school. We wasted a bunch of taxpayer money on a football field out on I-10.
Yep.
So I think that our school board now wants to have 2 5A schools so we can actually use that waste of taxpayer money out there. But what they don't realize...
That's not a bad move, actually.
I mean, it's really not a bad move in the grand scheme of things.
It's duct taping a hole in the boat.
Right.
But,
right. But I mean, when you get down to it, we're getting back to the fact that we are segregating along racial lines in a very blurry way. That's just the way that I see it. People may disagree with that, but as an outside observer looking in, that's kind of what I see happening.
Well, I mean, that's fine intentions, right? Trying to utilize the Butch complex,
right?
That's a great idea, but and it's going to be impossible for any one of us to know for certain, the intent.
Yeah.
But I just hate the way that people are framing it. I was reading in the newspaper about the whole merger and just the way the paper was framing it.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. It seems so.
Now, what paper was that? The Beaumont Enterprise. Yeah.
They framed it in this sort of like. It's so racist. It really concerned me.
Yeah, I mean, and it is so hard nowadays to not cross that line into being racist because, or coming across as racist because there's such a sensitivity to it now because it's been brought back into the forefront, which is a wonderful thing because I think that can actually help this country and the people grow as a whole, especially this area because we have distrust on both sides of it. What drives me absolutely insane is when people make base accusations just based off of one sentence that they read on the internet in a comment. You can't sit there and say, "Oh, well, you're a racist because somebody said something funny on Facebook."
Well, people do that. I'll just get off on this real quick and then we'll go right back. But people do that because it's the quickest way to win an argument. Because you can't. You just call somebody a racist.
You just put somebody immediately on the defensive,
right. So
no matter what.
It doesn't really work. But anyway, we'll get back to the school.
Well, I mean, these are the facts. Like these schools are probably 90% African American.
Yeah, and
it's not.
That's a little steep.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I'm sure that's a little steep.
Well,
right?
I mean, when I graduated from high school in 2001, so we're coming up on pizza's here.
Hey, you want to take a pizza break?
Yeah, let's take a pizza break. Yeah, because we
don't just
track.
do our white privilege thing.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
I haven't got my check yet.
We'll be right back. So we left off talking about the Ozan Central thing. I guess you want to get back into it.
Yeah.
And beyond, it's obviously kind of a racial thing, just from the makeup of the demographics of it.
We can. I mean, it's really hard to talk about it without talking about that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
But just the simple fact of the matter of that, I really don't think that 2 schools, even though they are going to be 5A schools, I don't think that that's going to be enough as far as the student-to-teacher ratio.
Especially that's already bad.
It's already terrible, but
it
stands to get even worse, especially with the problems that BISD has had here in the past 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Now, did BISD choose to do this, or did
I'm really
the
not
city
sure.
council have anything to do with
The
this?
city council really doesn't have anything to do with it.
I've always heard that the city council has nothing to do with it.
School board really doesn't have anything to do with it because, as I understand it, the TEA or TSA or whatever, the Texas Education Association or whatever, they're basically going to be calling the shots for quite a while.
Yeah, this school district is going to be taking over on the state level for quite a while.
Yeah, and honestly, I really don't see a future for BISD. I feel like it's that bad, and especially now that we have suburbs of Beaumont that offer better education as a whole. I mean, I didn't go to school in Beaumont, so I don't know what going to school in Beaumont's like. I went to school in Lumberton, and the education there was garbage. I mean, the education part of it was good. The administration was garbage.
Yeah.
Well, we live in America. Let's get real. All of our education's garbage.
Public education.
Yeah, that's of course that's what I mean. Yeah.
But I mean, we have what? How many private schools here in town? We have Legacy. We have
Kelly,
and Harmony. Science Academy.
Right.
And those are really your only other options. And I don't know what the pricing is like on those. I think you have to be Catholic to go there.
I want to say it was $20,000 to $30,000 a year for like Kelly.
Yeah. Harmony's not too expensive. It's
I want to
just
say it's
elementary,
something like
though.
that.
Yeah.
Bro, oh, that hurts.
It's like college.
Right in my side.
Legacy is
Yeah,
the most expensive.
Harmony is not, from what I understand, very expensive. And actually, a friend of mine that I used to work at GT Vapor with, Mariah, her daughter, Zeta, went or goes to Harmony Science Academy, and she loved it. It worked out really well for Mariah and Jake. And
Yeah, they do dope stuff, and they like build circuit boards, and they do very practical
that's awesome.
learning. Yeah,
That's awesome. That's something that I'm kind of interested in, the getting in there and working with your hands
Well, you
on
know
teeny tiny stuff.
One thing that's really sad, and I mean, this is going to be a tangent, but one thing that's sad about seeing Central go is I really enjoyed the magnet system. I thought that magnets were dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you want, you're
wanna go here?
You're
Okay.
a young person. You want to go in the medical field? Go to the medical.
Go to
magnet.
this school.
Right.
But I'm not really that familiar with it, but was Central really geared towards that, or was it more geared towards, hey, we're an extra school here,
No,
go to us?
I've talked to somebody. I've talked to an older person who knew a lot about it. And yeah, it was very.
Well,
geared to
yeah.
that.
Then we
was,
have Lamar Port Arthur is like a pretty big nursing.
There was laboratory. There was laboratory classes. There was,
cool.
It was basically just a regular high school, and then it had all kinds of college courses.
So it's like almost like a distance learning on campus type thing.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
But I think you have to like apply for that title.
Yes,
too.
I knew
So
that.
you have to meet
you
a
had to
certain
apply,
kind of
and you had to
requirement.
have certain grades.
Now, whenever they combine them, is that going away?
Well, it hasn't. It's just called that. It hasn't actually been a medical magnet, I don't think, for a while.
No, I think they kind of just dropped that system kind of by the wayside
Yeah.
a couple of years ago. But I mean, they have programs like that now. They
that
have
was a very
accelerated
popular-
learning programs
Yeah.
where you can actually take college level courses if you meet a certain grade requirement and stuff like that.
How do you think that the issues with BISD in our school district here affects companies wanting to come here?
Oh,
Probably not much at all because there's better ones in the communities
Well,
around.
if you take it at face value, if you're forgetting about Lumberton, Hardin Jefferson, Sour Lake, even or Groves, Nederland, Port Arthur, what have you, maybe not Port Arthur, but if you leave those out of the equation, BISD stands more of a chance to drive people away with the actions over the speculation. I'm not going to say yes they did it, no they didn't. Just what has gone on with the administration at BISD over the past 5 years,
Right.
probably longer, that doesn't instill trust in people who make decisions in putting a headquarters here or starting something here. Well, do I want to send my kids to those schools? Do I want my employees' kids to go to those schools? Now, when you take in Southeast Texas as a whole, Lumberton has a great education system. Hardin Jefferson has a great education system. Not really sure about Nederland and Port Neches, but everybody that I've met from Nederland is pretty cool. Everybody that I've met from P&G is pretty cool. Like my supervisor at work.
P&G has
Eric-
a lot of money in their school, so it's
Yeah.
probably something good about it.
Yeah. So, but my only worry is that P&G's football field is right next to oil storage. So I'm kind of worried about the water quality
you ever
out
been to-
there.
you ever
But
been to Port
hey,
Arthur?
we're all worried about water
I
quality.
mean,
in this
our
town.
university is like across the street from a plant.
Yeah. But what does Lamar mostly churn out? Engineers.
So okay, so we know that's an issue here. What I guess what's your platform? What do you stand on? What are your principles?
Well, when I first started thinking about running for city council, I guess it was probably right around the time that they had their first open public forum. They had one at Wesley United Methodist Church, and I was working there at the time. And I was going back and forth. We had band rehearsal in one room, and we had the public forum going on in another room. So I was having to bounce back and forth. And I got to listen to some of the candidates get into what they were talking about. And there really wasn't any substance. It was kind of more of like a, hey, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing. And that's when my inquisitive mind, that was around the time that the national elections were going on for president. So that's when I started, getting into my very vocal yelling, screaming about politics. So I started paying more attention. And I had a great guy helping me out in the sound booth that night. His name's Dana Timaeus. I think he's possibly in politics in the area. I kind of mentioned to him that I was interested in running for city council, and so he stood like right behind me, and whenever somebody would start talking, he would give me the lowdown on this person.
Yeah,
and you know, not in a bad way. He was just like, well, this person was
this.
involved with this, and this person did this person voted no on this.
Right, it was just giving you a briefing.
Yeah, just kind of giving me like a press briefing of the person, and that's when I got really interested in it. And I was like, well, what do you think? What do you think that the chances of someone my age getting elected to city council? Not having as much experience with as these guys have, but I have actual real world experience. I connect more with the people that I'm going to be representing. He said, you should really look into it. If you can get the funding to do it, go for it. So that's kind of where I started. And I was also working IT at the time, and just the abysmal rate of our data movement in this town is god awful. Right. When you can go to Houston and you can get a gigabyte worth of data for the same amount of money that we're paying here.
I pay $70 for, on average, probably 4 down.
For 4 down?
They advertise it as 60.
How much are you getting up?
I don't know. Probably.
4 down?
I'm saying, look, this is okay. So you run the speed tests, all the different speed tests, even the ones that aren't tracked. I pay for, I think, our minimum is 60. If you pay this rate, this is 60. Yeah. 20 is like the top I've ever seen.
So you're floating like between 20 and 33?
No. Well, I mean, that's like the average that I've seen is 20, right?
Oh, my God.
Whenever I do the test.
Yeah.
But in actuality, it's
you're
a lot less than that.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's always a lot less than that.
I check mine when I'm checking mine at my home at the house. I'm checking it on my Xbox. I'm checking it on my computer, and then I'm checking it on my phone because I want to see if T-Mobile is actually shuttering speeds and stuff like that. But that's kind of getting off.
So technology is a big.
Oh yeah. I mean, the simple fact of the matter that
it's fair to say that information systems and infrastructure. Specifically.
You've been in IT as well, right?
I worked IT for, I guess, a year and a half. But that was more going behind people and cleaning up their messes and stuff like that. So it's not more.
Well, it's kind of like that, just on a really big scale.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Basically, the what got me going, hey, I could probably see this thing through to the end, but at least I can get this idea out there, was the idea of municipal broadband, using local money and allowing, if they want to, old Beaumont money, to throw money at it if they want to, if they actually want to, if they want to put their money where their mouth is, if they want to actually live up to the idea that they want to make Beaumont a better town, then pay up, bro. Yeah. Give me some money. Let's get these people something going. And from there, it just kind of snowballed. I kept thinking about it. Do you
have any idea of costs for this size?
Phase 1 would probably cost the taxpayers about $2 million.
$2 million?
But I mean, we raise property taxes in town 5.5%, so we're looking at $2.5 million increase on that. But I was railing against that because they were going to take that money and put another extra $500,000 in to build a park downtown that nobody was going to use. And I stand by that because who goes downtown?
I stand by that as well.
So platform is growth technology.
Growth technology, new industry.
New industry.
Yeah. New industry that is not... I mean, these industries could come in and support the medical and petrochemical industry, which are our two leading industries in this town.
I think it's very important to frame that as well, because it'd be really easy for somebody listening to you right now to think that you're anti-petroleum by saying this, and I don't think that's the case at all.
No.
Exactly. So whenever you talk about bringing new industry in, it's not that you hate the petrochemical industry.
Not at all. My girlfriend works in the petrochemical industry, and she makes great money doing it. She likes her job. I mean, just as much as anybody else likes an office job, you know. But when you get down to the brass tacks of it, British Petroleum, BP, has actually come out and said, hey guys, we've only got about 53 and a half years of oil left in the world to drill.
That's from their study.
That's from their studies. And that scares the crap out of me. I mean, because when you think of Lamar, like we said before, Lamar turns out what? Engineers. Those engineers go directly into the petrochemical field in this area. So that's more people paying tax money in this area at their job that already gives us tax money. We give them considerable tax breaks, obviously.
Right.
But they contribute a lot to this town financially.
Right.
The odds of that going away, I'm probably never going to have kids, but if I hypothetically had kids, if they stayed in this area, what's going to be there to support them when they get to be my age?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that terrifies me.
Well, that's a huge deal. Economically speaking, you can either think of things big or small, but you don't put all your eggs in a basket.
Right.
So if you're talking about just your own personal portfolio,
right,
you're not going to invest all of your money into one thing. You have to diversify.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So the thing about economically, locally, we need to diversify.
And honestly, we have some of the smartest people I've ever met in my life that live in this town. We have some extremely talented people that live in this area.
Right.
That we are not utilizing those people's abilities, and those people are leaving Beaumont in droves to go to Austin, Dallas,
right,
L.A., New York, to go and get these not necessarily high-paying tech jobs, but fulfilling tech jobs. Right. We don't have enough fulfilling work.
Well, you have a pool of talent, and if you don't utilize it, it's going to leave.
It's going to leave, and I'm sick of my friends leaving. And because they can't find anything that makes them happy.
It's not even that specific either. It's not just not utilizing talent. It's just severe,
not utilizing what we have in this town.
Severe lack of engagement.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like we were talking about that park downtown. I got really mad about that because the park had a proposed food truck section park.
And you know absolutely nothing about food trucks, Aaron.
But not one person, whoever was putting together the proposal, and they were like, hey, let's just add a food truck park. No one called me and was like, hey, if we built this, would you even park your truck there? Now, if I was proposing a park and I did that, I think I would try to ask somebody. I'm like, is this a good idea? Would you just, it made me mad.
No, you see that a lot with people. They probably called out to an architectural company in Houston or somewhere far away. They put out bids for it, and they said, for an extra $30,000, we'll add a food truck park.
Yeah.
And we'll put it right over there. And they say, oh, well, they said that we need to. They said if they're going to build it, then it must be the right way to do it.
Right. Build a dream zone.
But you also know what happens whenever we hire within the community.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it worked out really well. But I think to expand upon that, the lack of engagement, our city council meetings are Tuesday afternoon at 1:30 p.m.
When everybody's at work.
When everybody is at work or sleeping. If I don't know you.
Yeah.
But
2:00, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Who's awake at that hour? I'm napping at my desk. Not really. I'm sorry, Robert. I'm not napping at work.
No, my lunch break ends at 1. It's like nobody's going to go to your meeting.
Yeah, but I mean that speaks volumes about what the upper level management in this city actually cares about. They don't care about engaging with the citizens. They care about doing, hey, status quo. Let's keep doing what we're doing. I guess I mean, and when you look
status quo with personal growth every year.
Yes, personal growth. Yes,
personal growth.
I mean, how many times has the Beaumont Enterprise gone under and then been bought out by somebody and then goes under again? That 2 or 3 times now.
Yeah.
Let's start a new one that's not rooted in old Beaumont money and rooted
or just let it die.
Or just let it die. I mean, no more bailouts. I know that's
the thing is,
people's personal wealth.
Whenever print media dies, and then the newspapers die, and the news stations die, those old people don't know how to use the internet.
Nope. What's the Reddit?
They won't even be able to spread information anymore.
I don't know, man. That's silly.
Well, I mean, but you also have the same people that get on, Jeffco Politics and more and Southeast Texas discussions that are heavily skewed to either side of the aisle, and they just spew
there's some
garbage.
People
they don't really know how to properly conduct discourse, so that's a major problem.
No, I mean, and you have trolls in both groups. I mean...
But that's the problem. No one really knows how to
But what I find very interesting, though, is, and it's credit to the admins of that group, it's... the Jeffco Politics and more. Yes, it's heavily skewed to the left.
Oh yeah, everybody join Jeffco Politics, please.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a lot of fun. Lori is great. You'll see me in
She's
there.
a really good admin.
The whole admin team is great. I love Talsha. She shares fun stuff, funny stuff to actually see.
See, I joined that group, and and just clarify, this is a political group focused on Jefferson County on Facebook.
Group, yeah.
Jefferson County, of course, is the most popular county in the country, but Jefferson County, Texas, so it covers that. But I actually joined that group for a while and then left it because it's sometimes it's terrible. And then I went back and actually found I uncovered the diamond in the rough that's in there. There's some good discourse that goes down. It's just
that's when they add
you gotta go through a field of shit to get to it.
Well, I mean sometimes I actually find I get enjoyment out of reading some of the absolute garbage that comes out of people. It's hilarious. I mean, there was an evangelical Christian woman in this group, and a good friend of ours, y'all know Corey Mendez and Christy.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys, the normal folks.
Normal folks.
But they're also part of an organization, Atheists Feeding the Homeless or something, or helping the homeless.
Atheists Helping the Homeless.
AHH. Yeah, go check those guys out on Facebook. Corey actually posted an Amazon wish list for people to make donations to them so they go out and help the homeless people.
Yeah.
There was an evangelical Christian woman that came in there. Absolutely not. All of my donations will come from God Almighty. What Christian in their right mind is going to deny helping somebody just because it comes from somebody of a different religious persuasion?
It doesn't carry their message.
Yeah. But on the other hand, you have great discussion about we can actually get into the meat of racial problems in this area.
Right.
And that's very important, but the folks over there, they're the salt of the earth. They're great people at heart. Mike Getz is very active in there. He usually answer your questions.
I mean, that's how I got to, I guess, who he presents himself to be or who he is, because that's whenever I was like,
he's kind of a take
seeing
no
his
prisoners
actions
kind of,
on there. Yeah,
he's kind of a take no prisoners.
He's very
kind of
forward.
Guy.
Let's just say that
he doesn't put up with no guff.
Yeah.
But
he's the only local politician
that you really
who has put himself into the conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
none of the other ones. Becky Ames is not in there.
No.
None of the other ones are in there.
No.
In
No,
the
they don't
and it's not even.
respond.
I don't even care if they actually feedback or anything like that. If they just go in there and say, hey, let's talk. They didn't ask you for the food truck. None of these politicians that are in office right now are really reaching out to anyone I know.
And as
they are reaching out to communities, but churches and other businesses and those associations, that doesn't represent everybody.
They're reaching out to minor care hospitals popping up and
like the little ribbon cutting stuff, but and they do fundraisers.
The people that have started those don't even live in this area. This is a statewide thing that they've begun. I do a lot of work for Beaumont Emergency Center doing promotional items and stuff like that. They recently just opened up Kingwood Emergency Center, so now I've got a mess of new work to do for these guys, and I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, I did a lot of those openings too.
And those are really great facilities as well. It gives the people that's kind of along the lines of what I want to bring to town with the idea of municipal broadband competition.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I recently went to the hospital because I just wasn't feeling right. So I went down to the hospital to get checked out, and I waited for 10 and a half hours before somebody saw me. I went in there thinking I was having a heart attack, which turned out not to be the case, and I feel kind of silly about it now. But you walk in somewhere and say, hey, I think I'm having a heart attack. Do you think it's okay to just make that person wait for 10 and a half hours while they probably are having a heart attack?
Yeah, but you weren't having a heart attack. So maybe they were right. Maybe they saw it.
Possibly. But still, at least tell me that so I can go home and, take a Xanax or something. I don't know. But bringing more competition to the area.
I mean, aren't they adding all kinds of these minor care facilities? And there's they built one on College. It's an emergency place. They built
one on
so
Calder,
there is competition coming here. It's just not local competition.
It's not local competition, but it's still competition.
Isn't encouraging local competition what you're kind of doing with your campaign?
Yes,
because you're encouraging competition for the seats to lead the city.
Yeah,
the government.
Let's face it. When I'm looking at the city council right now, and no offense to any of them, but I really don't think they're in touch with the next generation. I don't really think probably the closest two I see would probably be Mike Getz and Robin Mouton. And I don't think anybody's going to be able to beat Mike Getz out of his seat unless he runs for mayor. And then Robin Mouton, she's new. I still think Aaron Barnhill should run for mayor.
I could do it.
You could. You're old enough. You live in Beaumont.
I'm just saying. No, I'm saying I
cute
would
as a
be.
button?
I would be if I ran. I would be.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I'll run the wildest campaign.
If I would vote for you, I'm sure there's probably a gazillion other people that would vote for you.
I would have a scandal-based platform.
Excellent.
It would be great actually.
Make Beaumont wild again.
If we could see at least 3 of the seats flip to someone under the age of 40,
right?
I think you would see phenomenal growth in this town.
One thing I think is
maybe not growth overnight, but we could start laying the groundwork where in 5 to 10 years we have more services that this town can offer to not only its citizens.
I think it would also it would bring a lot of enthusiasm to the town as well.
Yes, and I think that's
Beaumont's not sad.
Yeah, I think that's something that Beaumont really lacks right now.
Well, Beaumont constantly makes these like top 10 lists of
saddest place in
like
town,
depressed,
most
saddest
STDs,
place, right?
stuff like that.
Least educated, a lot of those things. So and everything is in combination. It can all be picked apart as different parts of the sum, but it all does go together in the equation.
Right. Well, I mean, and I think along with the idea of doing municipal broadband, the way that I've kind of come up with the idea of doing it is you work with Energy and the local plumbers union to neighborhood by neighborhood update our power grid, update our drainage systems. You can't do the entire town at once because that would cause utter chaos. So you set out a 5-year plan to get.
You can only fix one road at a time.
Yeah. You start downtown and work your way out from there because downtown doesn't necessarily need new roads, so we save a little bit of time there. Its drainage system is fine from my understanding. We start laying the spinal cord for municipal broadband, and when we hit Magnolia, we just start going neighborhood by neighborhood up Calder and Magnolia and just spread out from there. But we've already got the infrastructure laid as far as the broadband goes.
A lot of those skyscrapers would make for some good server farms.
Right. It would also make great office spaces for tech industry. It would also make great apartments for the people who are working in that tech industry.
Well, so I'm going to play devil's advocate here, but also some of those buildings are a little too far gone, and everything comes down, because I'm like a private sector type of guy, but everything comes down to cost to benefit ratio.
Right.
So, and if that's your goal is to make downtown more attractive, you're just going to have to figure out a way to make it cheaper to get people in there.
Oh yeah, that's a hurdle that
I personally want to see it happen because when I drive 45 minutes and I go to Lake Charles for whatever reason, their downtown is vibrant.
Yeah.
And we're pretty much sister cities. We're almost the same size, very similar logistically, and somehow they figure out how to make it work.
Right.
And there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to make it work. Yeah.
I think it's just I can't really speak for Lake Charles. I mean, because it's in dirty Louisiana, and I hate Louisiana.
You want to just throw that out there like that?
I mean, it's
like, hi, I'm
Bizarro,
Teej
Texas.
Rodman, and I hate Louisiana.
It's Bizarro, Texas.
Vote for me. Hey.
I mean, have you ever heard people talk over there? It's verbal gumbo is basically what it is. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. There should be more events, more not necessarily just family-friendly events, just more events in general happening downtown. And that's never going to happen unless we improve the infrastructure of downtown and get more businesses in
Well, they got the
there.
event center. It's right next to the senior care home.
See, and the important thing too is that I don't really believe in just throwing events for whatever reason. I don't really, it's going to raise the morale, but I want events to be a monetary gain.
Oh yeah,
right.
Obviously,
like throw events that people are going to go to, and that's another important part.
But making it more.
Stop spinning your wheels. I mean, everything that comes out of the pipe here just kind of
instead of relying
flops dead.
on city government to plan and implement all these events, why not make city government help the people that want to throw these events a little bit more?
That's kind of where I was going.
Because these people are having to pay for licensing to have all these things done. So there's a revenue stream right there. Right. And these food trucks that come out there, they still have to fill out taxes at the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
What's that? I don't even know what that is.
So that's more local tax revenue.
Right.
So I don't see how it couldn't be lucrative if you work together with the actual community instead of having your city council meetings at 1:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. Only having one council person active on Facebook, actually engaging with the residents of Beaumont.
Sure.
That's a gigantic hurdle that our city government needs to overcome.
There absolutely needs to be more engagement with the community, and then conversely, there needs to be a time when they just get out of the way.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So
when you look at Becky Ames' profile or bio on the city website, which is okayly designed, that's just me being a little passive aggressive. She talks about one of her things is she ushered in economic growth into town. I made a post about this earlier today. I don't think that
that's it. I'm running. That's it. I'm running right now.
I don't think that fast food chains and more retail, which is dying. Retail is dying. You can fight against it all you want. Retail is dying. I don't think that constitutes real economic growth because we don't know how long lasting those streams of revenue are.
You know what I think about the fast food chains? I think that they have those meetings. They have those meetings for like the state where like it's like mayoral meetings,
Yeah.
and they'll go hang out with other mayors.
Yeah.
I think they collect fast food chains like trading cards. So like
think there's a
like
mayor payola?
everybody has a Taco Bell, right?
Right.
You know, but
Everybody
like
has a
some,
Taco Bell and a KFC.
but
and
you
a-
have to get to a certain you have to get to a certain level to get like a Chipotle. Like we just hit the Chipotle card like a
Next
couple
is
of years
Taco
ago.
Cabana.
Next is Taco Cabana. I really think
Dallas has it up on everybody. They got the In-N-Out burger.
Yeah.
What, they got it like 2 years
Screw that.
ago?
I don't care about that. Let's just get a Taco Bueno and I'll be good.
Now we got a pretty heavy trump card. Like we got a legacy card. We got the Jason's Deli card.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, that's a rare one.
I mean, with Jason's Deli, you got, well, not anymore, but you used to be able to, they had the trifecta. You had the Jason's Deli, the Geo Burrito. You remember Geo Burrito? They own that. And then Navroski's. That was all the same company.
yeah,
son.
we got Navroski's
Yeah.
too.
Navroski's,
That's a local
man,
player.
Novo chips and some ranch dressing. Num num.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yes, it's not. I mean, it's not really representative of much growth. It's just
Yeah.
it's
And
just
that-
more passive growth.
And that
Let's-
goes back to my.
Let's talk about a number real quick, though, because this is another thing. So we're not just like pulling people's leg when we talk about economic growth.
Right.
And how stagnant this area actually is.
Right.
Because if you look outside your window, it does look like it's growing. You know, Dallin has gotten busier.
Yep.
Certain things have happened, but really it's just kind of a shifting of
I don't-
things around.
I think saying that Dallin is becoming more active isn't taking it at face value. They're
Exactly,
not- it's
yeah.
not necessarily getting more busy. They're just
that's what I'm
shoving
saying,
more.
is
they're building that new
It
road.
looks a
Yeah.
certain way.
that boulevard or whatever.
But just because something looks a certain way doesn't, correlation isn't
Right.
causation. So
Right.
they're just shifting around, but nothing's actually growing.
When you look at the corner,
Our population hasn't grown since the 60s.
it hasn't.
It's in like 1959, our population hit like 90,000.
Right.
no, it
and-
was like 114.
No, I think it was
We've been
about
sitting at 100,000, 114,000
for like 60 years.
for like
Yeah.
60 years. Yeah.
And that is like the direct relationship to economic growth is population growth.
Yep.
Right. Whenever.
And
So I mean, we're not. That's what my point is that we're not just making this up. Like
No.
this is a real thing,
Yeah.
and no one ever actually.
nobody
makes-
really even talks
No
about
one
it.
Well, I
actually
mean,
makes this an issue.
okay,
you
so
know?
we're stagnant. That's why we have politicians that have no social media presence.
Exactly.
And it's like it's not saying that social media, as much as people want to bitch about how it's so intrusive and everybody's obsessed with it, but it has become the way that we communicate.
Yes. I
And-
would
and
assume that
if they're not-
90% of the people that I see post online about various news topics
Right.
found that on the internet because they're sharing the article. You can't tell me that you are less informed with the internet than you are without it.
Right.
Because you can live your entire life without the internet, walk outside, and be greeted with 7,000 new things before you get to your car, just an everyday conversation. Without, if these people aren't, I mean, yeah, they all have Facebook pages where they say, oh, yeah, I'm running for City Council Ward 1, or City Council Ward 4, whatever. That's great. But I don't see any interaction with our current city government.
No direct interaction.
No direct interaction
No
whatsoever.
engagement. You know.
No
Not,
enga-
well,
no.
not with us.
Not with
Right, right.
with the people. The only one that I see is Mike Getz.
Not with the people they're representing. Yeah.
Right.
So.
And Mike Getz is usually in there tossing it up, just kind of
Toss
Waging
up.
war.
yeah.
I mean, and in person too. You can go right up to him at
I haven't had the pleasure yet, but he is open to having coffee with me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take him down to Rayo's and
Should
buy
call
him-
out Mike.
Mike
calling
Getz.
you out.
Mike Getz, Ward 2. What's
up?
up?
Thanks for Oktoberfest, bro.
Yes,
I appreciate
and
it.
Uber.
And Uber.
And
yeah.
Uber.
That's another thing is
Still don't think Uber's a replacement for a bus system, but that's fine.
no, it's not a replacement for a bus system,
I'm
but
not
it's
gonna get
it's
off
a
on that
replacement
I'm not
for a
gonna get off on that
predatory
tangent
cab
right
system.
now.
I'll tell you
Yes.
that much.
Yes.
You know?
I lived a portion of my life without a vehicle, and the cab service in this town is
It's very poor.
it's extremely poor.
It's very poor.
Cab service? Yeah.
Say I have to be at work at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
I would call them at 7:30, and right at 8:45, a car would be pulling up. So that's an hour and 15 minutes that I'm waiting.
And we're all capitalists, right?
Yeah.
So whenever
Well, now there's two now, right? It's La
Well, yeah,
Uno,
there's
and then
Lyft
there's
and-
another
oh.
one.
yeah,
They both suck.
yeah, they're
But
horrible.
La Uno came more recently. They're probably better than the first one was. I
they're-
remember when we didn't have La
They're
Uno.
not great.
I'm not saying they're great.
I've only taken La Uno, and
What? Well, I can. So
The one-
because they're the only ones I can get to show up.
Yeah.
So I can tell you, working at the bar and being the guy that like calls cabs to come pick people up, I can tell you that the cabs just like
They come like an hour and a
and
half
the thing
later.
is they were just set up for failure because they had no competition. Whenever you have no competition, you don't have to strive for greatness at all.
sounds
You
like
literally
sounds
just-
like a political position.
But I mean, at least they don't have enough clout to drive Uber out of town like happened in Austin.
Right.
Thank God for that. Uber's great.
We have
I live-
Lyft. We have Lyft too.
We have
Also.
Lyft.
We have Lyft.
Yeah, we have Lyft.
Weird.
What?
BJ
Here to competent.
BJ drives for Uber and Lyft.
What's going to be your approach to this campaign? You gonna go Trump?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Trump minus the racism and sexism. And I'm gonna
Just
try to keep
you're
it.
gonna be brutally honest
and the
all the
billions.
time.
I would like to be brutally honest. I mean, if people have questions about who I am historically, how I came up, what my history is, I'm going to be open and honest with them. I think I think honesty is the best policy in that.
It's the only policy.
Well, looking at our current day and age, I would have to disagree with you.
No, I mean, okay, I agree. I agree with what you're saying, but it's I mean, everything you do is out there, so
Right.
Might as
Well, I mean,
just-
like if
might as well just be.
it's
super
probably
honest,
going to
yeah.
come out in the course of the campaign. Yes, I used to have a problem with drugs. I don't have a problem with drugs anymore. If
Would
you're
it,
gonna hold-
would it be weird if you came out like and didn't promise anything? That
I'm
would
not
be a good
promising
change of
anything
pace.
now.
That would
I'm-
be a good change.
The
of
only
pace.
thing the only thing that I'm promising right
You know?
now is
Yeah.
that
like I'm going to try to do this and this might not happen.
I mean, that's the
That's
thing.
the truth,
That's
though.
the thing.
That's
I
what
mean, I
usually
could get
happens.
elected and it'd be me and Mike Getz voting for my infrastructure plan, and that's
Right.
it. But I'm going to go up there and I'll keep bringing it up. Hey,
That's all you can promise.
Hey, let's talk
That's
about
it.
this. I'm going to try my best to actually move this town forward
Right.
instead of sitting where we are. Let's take a step forward. Let's see where we can go with Beaumont. There's a world of opportunity out there, and I think a lot of us are missing out on it.
Yeah.
We could attract new business. We could attract new people. I'm tired of looking at the same faces every day.
Hey.
I love you guys, but I'm getting sick of looking at the same people
Yeah.
every day. Let's get some new people. Let's get some new blood in here. Let's see what we can do. Let's make it where we have to make more schools.
Sure.
Wouldn't that be awesome if
That'd
we
be
get in
crazy.
here and we say, "Hey, we need 2 more 5A schools"? That'd be freaking awesome. We'd have a school in each ward.
Yeah.
That would be phenomenal.
Well, even more so if we have more people in the schools, there would be more people complaining if it wasn't good enough. That would kind
Exactly.
of change it too.
Well, I mean, with every good thing that you have 2 bad
trade-off.
things that
Yeah,
that
everything's
pop
a
up.
trade-off.
It's like writing code. You need
Yeah.
to fix one thing.
No,
2
that's
more
good
things
though.
pop
You
up.
need people to complain and make things change.
Or else we'd sit we'd sit stagnant since the 1960s.
Yeah.
I can tell you though, you got my vote. Not even for any promises or anything, but just because you're a person. Of
Yeah, I don't
integrity.
care what you're running
Yeah.
for. I'll vote
You
for
know,
you.
that's the
that's
thing
cool.
too. So you're a person of integrity. You're a person who.
Oh, I try.
Well, and your philosophical political beliefs.
Yeah.
You're not a flip flopper. I hate that. Yeah.
I flip flop on a lot of things. Like when I was coming up, I was.
Well, I mean, it's saying flip flop. You're
not a pander.
It seems
You're
you're a
not a
hard
pander.
left,
Oh,
hard
no, I'm
right.
not going to pander
That's-
to anybody
yeah.
because
But
I mean,
you can be swayed.
That's disgusting if you pander to people.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
know,
what. That's the
I'd
integrity.
rather
Yeah.
I'd rather be able to go out and meet, because when I first told somebody that was prominent in the community that I was thinking about running for city council, they were like, "Oh, you need to go on the Kiss the Ring tour." Like, what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He was talking about going and meeting high profile people
Right.
in each of the demographics. I would rather go out
That
and
person only has
meet
one
with
vote.
African Americans and meet them on their level so they can judge me by my character, not by what shade of skin I am. I'd like to go. I mean,
Which is
I
very
care about
frequent.
everybody.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of a big heart, whether that's from health problems or not. But I want to see everybody succeed because I'm right there with you. I'm just trying to make it day to day. If we can make Beaumont a little bit better, maybe I won't have to move. I would hate to.
Yeah,
I don't.
for
I
sure.
really don't want to move out of this town. But I mean, with someone with my skills, it's kind of hard to find something that's.
I mean, Beaumont could be better. That's why we're sitting here, right?
That's why
It's
I'm
infuriating.
that's why
It's
I'm saying,
infuriating.
hey
I mean,
guys,
I
I'm
think,
running
I
for
think
city
that's
council.
I think that's why me and Aaron are probably still here as well.
Yeah, I mean, Beaumont could be better.
I've always felt that there was something about this town that had something going.
This isn't
for
a
it, or
town
had
in the middle of the
had
desert.
potential.
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean,
we have resources.
I have never
galore.
been to a town. I've never visited anywhere that the local artists are more loved or more talented, where the local bands are more loved. I mean, who in this town doesn't know the name We Were Wolves
Deep Sea,
or
right?
Purple
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
who doesn't know those names? And these are bands that are making it, and they came from Beaumont. I don't want to repeat what Port Arthur did to Janice, and forget about her until she's dead.
Right.
And then, oh, hey, Janice was from here. No, I don't want to do that. Let's celebrate that now. But how can we celebrate it if we don't have places for them to go and play that are not, I love the log on and I love the gig, but let's face it, we need more venues so we can have more shows going on.
I don't really like Crockett Street.
I've always wanted to do a venue as like a retirement thing. Big ass venue, nothing but production, nice lights, some haze.
Yeah.
Good sound system and pizza by the slice. Done.
I feel like Crockett Street is the easiest representation of what's wrong with Beaumont. To be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
Right? You have a renovated place where less than half of the buildings are occupied.
Right. What's left on Crockett Street now? The gig
I think it's
once
just
a week
the gig
and
Dixie. Yeah.
Dixie on the weekends.
I think that's it. Yeah.
That's depressing. I played it
Right.
when
The way they price themselves.
what was the last thing that Vane? I played in
Vane.
Vane. Man, that was an awesome place, but
Yeah.
nobody was there.
All downtown Beaumont
they
is a
price
tax
themselves.
write-off.
They price
yeah.
themselves out of
Yeah.
it.
Well, I mean-
like the Spindletop restaurant. Do you remember when it was open?
No.
And you don't. Well, it was a great steakhouse, man. It was like the only place you get Texas Kobe beef.
There was no reason for me to go downtown during the daytime.
Sure.
That's
well,
the
I mean,
thing.
this was night, but I checked out the pricing of it one time years ago. It's probably even gone up since then, but it hasn't been filled. But it was like $6,000 a month is what they wanted.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. They do that so they can all write it off on their taxes at the end.
This
of
is
the
going
year
to
as a
sound
loss.
very tinfoil hatty, but
I mean, I just sounded tinfoil hatty, so I don't really care. Yeah.
But kind of mirroring what you said, the people that own the property down there don't like what's happening in those buildings, so they're just kind of pricing them out.
Well, I think I think it's because they take it as a loss, and they
Make
can
some
file
nice
that
shops
on their
and
taxes.
lawyers' offices.
Yeah.
They're just diversifying the portfolio. Like, all right,
Probably
we need
will
to get
be.
some money back at the end of the year. Let's file this as a loss because nobody will buy it because it's too expensive.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Because I was personally witness to something like that happening
and
very
that's
recently.
That's exactly
That's the thing,
what
though.
downtown
that's
is
the thing,
too.
that's the thing that happens often.
That's
tax write-off.
the
ownership.
entirety of downtown, and moreover, it's like the Main Street group. They get all this money. They re-roof all of these buildings. They fix like doors and windows and everything. Like the storefront, that's what they do. And then these things just never get
rotten on the inside.
Yeah. Well, they just never get filled. People take money and they put it to use, but
Everybody's just
but not
sitting.
how it's supposed to.
All the property owners are basically just like sitting on downtown.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have that big sell off like a while back where they were selling buildings for like $20,000 or $30,000. But
Yeah.
they need millions of dollars for renovation.
Exactly.
And
And there are parts of downtown that are pretty. I wouldn't say vibrant, but at least surviving. I mean,
It would take
you
a
have,
huge push.
Sure.
Yeah, you have the.
It would take super
burger place
cheap and
New York
then like
pizza and
grants
pasta
and
over
shit.
there, yeah.
Like,
And I'd feel really bad if I didn't say this too, but if somebody's at the off chance that like somebody's listening to this and you're somebody who is an owner of somewhere downtown, and I've got it completely wrong, correct me. I would
please. I
like,
mean, that's just the story
I
that
don't-
we've collected over the years of talking about it amongst friends.
This is half story, half conjecture.
I mean, because there's no real way to get this information unless you know the right people
right.
to know.
And I would like to know. So if you know
definitely.
anybody for sure, like hit us up because I'm curious about that.
Yeah, and if you have any questions for me, or if you just want to tell me I'm an idiot, you can always hit me up on Facebook. It's Teej Rodman. I'm right there. My stuff is private because I'm a libertarian, and it's none of your business. But you're more than welcome to send me a
committed
message.
to engaging with you.
I'll commit to listening to what you have to say. If you have ideas for me, or if you think that I'm completely wrong on something, please come and educate me, because that's part of this process. I'm learning some things as I go. I have a general idea of where I think Beaumont can go, and there are hurdles to overcome through that. But with the help of the residents of Beaumont, I think we can get there.
For sure. I think that's a great thing too. That's one thing that already puts you ahead of everyone else in my mind. You're actually asking people what they think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And that really ties into the thing we're trying to do here, too.
exactly. And that's the most important thing. Everything else can go fuck off.
Then we're just sitting here jacking off.
Right.
For 2 hours, But I mean, I think that would be a great place to end this episode, man.
Okay.
Because that kind of wrapped everything up, Thanks for coming, man. Like, good luck to you. We'll have to, whenever we get this coming out, we'll have to, like, kind of, I guess, we'll have to get some links together, get some stuff from you that you have, or if you have any kind of page you set up or anything like that, just let us know. We'll put it in the show notes.
Cool.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Take it easy.
Have a good night.